Hello everyone, Jesus here, and I have something very special for you today. Probably the first big news we've had in the Go Vacation community since the Switch release in 2018. This is a debug or prototype build of the Wii version of Go Vacation. With an uploader date of July 2010, which, assuming that correlates to the date of the actual build, that dates this build to about 14 months prior to the retail release of the game, which is pretty crazy. This was released about a month ago by Mithra. So yeah, this is extremely cool. We're gonna do a sort of a quick overview of it today. I'm not gonna do a full in-depth analysis just because that would take too long, and it's actually exam season for me, so I don't have a whole lot of time on my hands. But we're just we're gonna do a quick overview to show you the major changes, which trust me, there's a lot. This will not disappoint. So yeah, real quickly here before we get into it, I do want to show you the file systems of both the retail and debug versions. So here on the left we have the retail, on the right we have the debug version, and as you can see, outside of this one border.dat file, they are pretty much identical in terms of their file structure. Obviously the contents of the archives and things are going to be different to account for the differences, but the overall structures are very similar. So let's go ahead and open this up, and I will switch to full screen. Hopefully that, yep, there we go. Click into the window here. And as you can see, the first major difference here is the game automatically boots into this debug menu. Now I'll go through this real quick. Here at the bottom you can enable and disable the various sound effects, so the background music, sound effects, and character voices. Aging mode is kind of strange. You can enable all of the available activities here with these toggles, and when you select OK and actually begin open aging mode, it sort of just cycles through all of the activities that you've selected. So say for example we enabled these three here. It would begin scuba diving with, say, with A here as player 1 and then CPUs for the others. It would begin scuba diving, and then as soon as the actual game of scuba diving began, it automatically pauses and quits out of the game, and then it goes straight to skydiving. Once skydiving begins, it quits out, goes to water gun battle. It's kind of unclear what this would be used for. I'm not exactly sure of that, but it's awfully interesting for sure. We're not going to actually open it because it would take a while. But here we have the save data, which is pretty straightforward, but it does show us some things that have changed here. So if we go into global, this allows us to edit the sort of global things that would be unlocked for all profiles, such as the hints from the hint balloons. So you can change them to locked, new, or unlocked. So new is it would show the icon when you first unlock something. It says new, so that's pretty straightforward. Outfits, you have the marine resort, city resort, all that, pretty straightforward. The photo spots, I'm not exactly sure how these worked in the original game. I never really took photos all that much back when I played the game, so I'm not really sure if that's the same or not. But yeah, so that's cool. Then player selection, of course, you can choose the things that would apply to each player, such as their silver keys, their records of how long they've walked and things. Then some interesting things in here. The thumbs up here. These are actually an early version of the achievement system. So, things like grinding 1,500 feet, the Pathfinder achievements, saving people, all these kinds of things, carpooling, all of that stuff. Those are all called thumbs up in this early version of the game. Another interesting thing is this does keep track of your stamps, and sort of your progress in the mini games. This is significant because, as you'll see in this debug version, there is no stamp dash at all. There's no information center, no talking to Lily. So it shows that at this point they had, sort of had the idea for this stamp dash sort of in there and brewing, but it hadn't been implemented yet. So then you can obviously just completely wipe all the save data, which I'm actually going to do here because we want to have a clean slate to show off here. So the viewer is also kind of strange, but a bit more understandable for debug mode, I think. So this essentially allows you to view all of the main menu screens. This is probably for checking to see if the layouts that the developers created were loading in properly and were looked nice on the screen. So we can choose the language, even though there isn't any text. It only loads the actual assets of the menus themselves. It doesn't load anything else. And then the resort here, I think, is the position that the small version of the world that plays on the title screen. Once you've selected once you've selected a resort that you want to go to, it zooms in on that resort. So I think that's what this is. I'm not going to do this right now because I don't want to sort of spoil the main menu, but I actually can't exit out of here, so I have to restart the game here real quick. Okay. Oh, I gotta click back into the screen. Okay, and then menu here just launches the game like normal. Takes you to the main menu. Debug menu is actually kind of the same thing, but it takes you to the menu, but still in this sort of text-based debug screen. So you have all the options that you would be able to choose in the main menu, but it's not actually loading the menu assets. It's all just in this environment here. And there's a couple other things you can toggle, I think, but I'm not going to show that right now. I might show that at the end if I recall, but it's essentially just this debug screen with all the menu options, and then once you get to the end, it actually loads you into the game as it would normally. But I'm going to go into the menu here without further ado and we'll see the first differences that are present in this debug version of the game. So as you saw there, it uses the Japanese sound effect. Although this is despite this being a debug version of the NTSC, or I'm sorry, the US version of the game, and you'll see it also uses the I don't know if that's older, but just the different style logo where it says 1 island, 4 resorts, 50 activities. I believe in the retail version that is just the Go Vacation and not the 1 island, 4 resorts, 50 activities. So you'll see there, after I clicked out of the attraction demo video, it took me back to the debug menu and not to the menu itself. So a lot of times in this version, if you click into return to menu, it actually takes you to this debug menu rather than the actual main menu. But we will enter now, and you will see that this is quite a bit different from the retail version. The activities menu is now called events, and as you can see, some colors have changed, the layout has changed a bit. The names of some of these activities have changed, and the images, the sort of preview images they use, have changed. So there's 14 pages here, and a lot of these you'll recognize, some you might not. We have windsurfing, which in the retail version can only be accessed from within the resort itself. You can't actually access it from the activity screen. Similarly, keep the flag, which in the retail version you can only access A, in the resort, and B, if 2 or more players have been selected. But in this version, it's here on the activity selection screen, so you can choose it without 2 players actually in the game, but you can't actually start the activity until there's been 2 players. There's also a search. I don't recall if this was in the retail version of the game or not. Perhaps someone there can correct me. But if we keep going here, a lot of these are pretty standard. Sword fighting, I don't think was selectable in the activities. I could be wrong about that one. There is keep the flag for all 4 resorts here, although it does not have things like bungee jumping, which are still present in the game, but just sort of isn't included here. And as a additional note here, a lot of these activities are incomplete. I'm not going to go into all of them again because of time constraints, but a lot of these have changed. The models have changed and so forth. Here we have the school, which I believe there was a school option in the main menu in the retail game, but the color here has changed. Some other things like that. The album, you can view the pictures that have been taken, and then history, you can see the records, the hints you've gotten from the hint balloons, and the rumors that you've heard from NPCs in the overworld. I think you could see hints in the retail game, but I don't think you could read all of the rumors. Yeah, so now when you go to enter a resort, it tells you to please use a Wiimote and nunchuck, which is new for sure. As you can see, even though this is a brand new, or actually we haven't even chosen a profile yet, and it's asking us to choose from any of the 5 resorts, which in the retail game, it would ask you to choose a profile before any of this, and it would immediately take you to the tutorial in the marine resort, and these other resorts would not be unlocked yet. But in this version of the game, as I said, there's no stamp dash, so everything is unlocked, and it allows you to choose a resort without having anything, without having even entered the game yet. So we're going to go into the marine resort here, and now it's going to ask us to choose our players. So I'm going to create a new profile here, and it's possible that these default avatars have changed. I'm not sure. And then here it asks you for your stance for things like skateboarding and snowboarding, which I don't think was an option at all in the retail version. If it was exclusive to when you were using the Wii balance board. I don't have a balance board here, so I don't actually have the ability to test, but it seems that they intended for the balance board to be a lot more prominent in this game than it ended up being, because in the retail version, the balance board just sort of ended up being an afterthought, I think. But it shows here that they were kind of planning on having that be a much more prominent part of the game. So here, the ultimate player selection screen after you've created your character, you can see it's changed quite a bit. This is your number of thumbs up, which is the thing we saw there at the beginning, which ended up becoming achievements. And you can actually change your gear, your outfit, or you can modify your gear and your outfit from this screen, which was not available in the retail version. And I believe that's because in the retail version, they ultimately ended up adding the information center where you could go to change all these things. In this version of the game, there is no information center at all. It's just completely gone. There aren't even, it's just normal buildings where the information center would have ended up in the retail version. So let's go ahead and enter the game here. You can still choose your buddies to play with. You can still choose a dog. All the dogs are pretty similar. Let's go ahead and enter here, and we'll see the sound effect for the dog on the loading screen has changed. And as we will see, this is a bit laggy just because my PC, I don't think is quite up to snuff, but it does load like normal. And as you can see, the positioning of the camera was kind of changed there. So as you can see, it just kind of plops you straight into the game and gives you a couple introductory remarks, you could say. There's still some remnants of Japanese, and it all just feels very unfinished. So we can sort of click through these. So, as you can see, the activity logos are blue, and I'm going to exit full screen here real quick to show you that this is actually consistent with the E3 trailer from when the game was first announced at E3 2011 in, I believe, June 2011. So that does sort of place this in line with being an early build of the game. And if you sort of compare with some of the other clips in this trailer, it does appear that this E3 version is a bit closer to the final game than this debug version. So it would appear that this debug version is older than this E3 trailer from 2011. So that does further confirm that uploader date. But let me go back into full screen here. And I apologize for the frame droppage and things. That's just sort of something that has happened. So, as you can see, as I mentioned, there is no information center at all. It is just sort of a blank, empty space. There's no option to change clothes, to access the school. Well, the option for the school is over here somewhere, I believe. But yeah, the information center is completely gone. And if you just sort of walk around these resorts, you'll notice all kinds of subtle changes that have been implemented. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of activities just sort of right here at the beginning. And there are other activities sort of spread around, but they're not as, spread out as they ended up being. And you'll also see that some of the old sort of expression speech bubbles there, as at heart, are still present from the Wii Ski games. So they hadn't quite gotten all those figured out yet. Some other things of note here, those pink circles that would give you points in the retail game, they do not do anything. They just do not work. The activities mostly work as they would. Obviously, if some are more complete than others, but they still take you to the activity screen. All of that. If you can hear in the background there's no loudspeaker effect, or G-Lind as it's referred to internally. That has not been applied to these audio files in the game, and that also applies to the announcements, such as DJ Spacer, and all that. So I don't think there are those versions of the announcements. I don't think those are present in the retail version, so I'll have to take a look at extracting those and having them uploaded so we can have some clean rips of those. And I believe they might have been changed a bit as well, which is interesting. So now let's go over here and jump on this marine bike, and we'll see that there's a couple changes. The most prominent change with all vehicles is, well, every time you jump on a vehicle, it shows you these screens to sort of show you how to operate it. And as you see, it's again sort of pushing the use of the balance board. And then, for all the vehicles in this game, the brake has been changed to pressing down on the control stick. In the retail version of the game, this ended up being the Z button on the nunchuck, but for all the vehicles in this version of the game, the brake is down on the control stick. And otherwise, these mostly work as intended. Again, I apologize for the lag. This is not cool, but And there's still the marine bike launch glitch. That's still present. And as you can see there, they're mostly working as they did in the retail game. Alright, so something else that's interesting here is this person right over here. This is Resort Tours, which is a sort of new game mode sort of thing that did not end up in the retail game. Now, this mode is incomplete. As you can see, there's no background screen for it. If we look at how to play here, there's no text to show you how to play. It's all just kind of incomplete. So now if we go to start, you can see there's originally 4 different tours you could go on. Only 2 are unlocked at the beginning. It's possible we could go into the save data version on the debug screen and enable these possibly, but as of right now, you cannot unlock them because all of these tours are incomplete. It's impossible to complete them. So essentially, what would happen here is this person here would essentially take you on a tour around certain places around the resort, showing you how to do things and just sort of getting you acclimated to the resort. So, however, you'll see that the AI does not really know what's happening. It just kind of drives around at random. And if we watch it, it will ultimately stop. And I believe it stops right here. Yeah. So the AI just sort of runs into this wall and then completely stops. It's possible that there's like some tricks you need to accomplish or something, but as I have not been able to figure out how to convince the AI to continue and allow us to complete this. So we're going to go ahead and exit this.
Okay.
As you can see, as you exit an activity, this screen is pretty much the same, which is cool to see. And again, since we haven't been on an ATV before, in the overworld outside of an activity, it shows us this tutorial. And again, control stick is to stop. And so, if we enter the pause menu now, we'll see there's been some changes to the pause menu. First of all, the map. It shows you all of the activities and things you can do. We can obviously view records, main menu, change resort. That's all pretty standard. Change gear and restart, I believe is... I think that was there in the retail version, but it I think the name changed, I think. But as you can see, there's no damp dash, and there's this thing called instant replay, which isn't available right now, but if we just sort of waste some time here for a little bit, we can see exactly what that does. And this is another feature that ended up getting scrapped and did not make it into the final game. So if we just play around a little bit, for probably 30 seconds or so is fine. Let's see if that will allow us. Yes, so now we can choose instant replay. And so what instant replay does is it shows you the last, I don't know exactly how far back it goes, but it allows you to watch a replay of what you did in the overworld, which is incredibly interesting, and actually kind of insane that they were able to implement this, because, you know, as we saw, this sort of ended up becoming a standard feature in modern day consoles and things, like in Xbox One. PS4 had these features, but Go Vacation had it all the way back in 2010. So we're going to go ahead and stop. If we hit B, will take us out. So yeah, I think that's super cool. It does take you back to the beginning if you exit, which is kind of odd. But yeah, I think that's about it for the Marine Resort. So let's go ahead and check out the City Resort next. And again, the day and nighttime options are automatically unlocked. And if you'll notice, everything just seems slightly off. Everything has changed a little bit. You know, it just does not feel quite the same as it ended up being in the final game. So again, we clicked through all this at the beginning, and so the inline skates and the skateboard are incomplete. You can obviously hop on them, and you can. Oh, no, you have to click through this. So you can hop on them and you can skate. However, oh, well, it turns out the turning is working now. I was trying this the other day, and I was not able to turn on the skates or the skateboard, so I suppose that has changed. But as you can see, again, there's no information. It has just been replaced with an sort of empty area, and the mini map down there in the corner, you can see there's just a bunch of empty space, which I don't think is actually empty. I think it's just sort of, they haven't finalized the map yet. But one other thing I want to show you in the City Resort over here is the carnival, which has changed drastically. As you can see, there's a big, I guess, hot air balloon kind of thing up there. And all of the activities are now clowns, which is interesting to say the least. Yeah, so this has changed a lot, quite a bit. There's not really many other huge changes. It's just all a bunch of subtle changes here and there that will add up. You can still grind. That works fine. And again, I apologize for the drop in frame rate here. But yeah. As you can see, the bungee jumping is in the game still, which is good to see. Now let's show you the snow resort. I think out of all of them, snow resort. I'm not sure which resort is the most complete. But snow resort is going to be relatively recognizable. You'll see that there are some changes, of course, but they are it's pretty similar to how it appeared in the final game. You still have the ski lifts and the things of that nature. And again, there's been a lot of activities sort of placed here at the beginning that were not there originally. And as you can see over there, again, there's no information center, completely gone from this version. I encourage you to download the ISO from archive.org and just checking out these early resorts, because there's a lot of subtle changes that I wouldn't really be able to show off on video here in a timely manner. But there is one thing I will say: the hidden cave that is has the treasure chest that is not present. The sort of path to it is there, but eventually it reaches an invisible wall, and you cannot access the hidden cave. So, yeah, I think that's there's not a whole lot to show here that you can't really see. So let's go ahead and change to the mountain resort. Alright, so as you can see, some things have changed. The first thing to note is here in the mountain resort, there is no overworld music. It does not play. You only get the sounds of nature here in the mountain resort. And again, there is no information center, completely gone. And another thing of note is you'll see the icons tend to load in from much farther away, which is an interesting side fact. The horses work as intended, pretty much. The off-road car. In this version of the game, there is not a Wiimote and nunchuck control scheme for the off-road car. You have to use it in the horizontal scheme, where you hold the remote horizontally, use 2 to drive, and tilt. Now, I want to see yeah, so you can turn this now. Again, I was trying this earlier, and you could not turn the off-road car, but it seems you can now, so that's good to know. Some things of note for the mountain resort here. The positioning, or the routes of the rivers in the mountain resort have changed quite a bit. Again, I won't show that because I'm afraid the lag would make it unbearable to watch, but if you just sort of go ahead and change to the top point here and just take a kayak and go down them, and you'll notice they've changed quite a bit. We also have this whole building here, which I don't think was a part of the final game. The canoes also work as intended. I think the sort of rocks and things in the pond here might have changed. Let's see. Other changes. Well, as you can see, the Mail on Wheels activities are... Or, actually, no. This isn't Mail on Wheels. This is the activity where you have to take all kinds of things to people and perform trades to get... I think you're ultimately trying to get the crown. That activity is present in this version of the game. The NPCs also don't tend to spawn in properly. Across all the resorts, you'll see NPCs spawned in strange places and getting themselves all stuck. A lot of the buildings here in the mountain resort have changed as well. Pretty much all the buildings you'll see here have changed in some way, which is interesting. Otherwise, I think that's about it for the mountain resort. The large boat that goes around and the train are both still present here, and they all work fine. So go ahead, and for the last part of the video here, we'll check out the villa grounds. And as you'll see, again, since there's no stamp dash, we automatically have this unlocked, and you're given a standard villa, as you can see there, when you first begin the game. So, as we'll see, the villa grounds here are pretty much unchanged. They are probably the closest thing to the Ultimate Retail version. You still have the picture, you can still spawn the UFO with the ball, but I think that's changed slightly. The editor for editing the villas is pretty much exactly the same. You can still enter the villas, as we'll see here. It's all pretty much the same. I think even the default layout of the villas here is pretty much unchanged. It seems pretty familiar. And actually, there is one more thing I'd like to show you that I forgot when we were checking out the Marine Resort. So we're going to head back over there, and actually, we'll check it out in the evening this time. But Concanor Island has changed a lot. It is probably the most changed area, I would say. So if we go ahead and go to point number 2. And go to the surfing activity.
Welcome.
And travel to Concanor Island. As you can see, there's just sort of more things here. I don't think those buildings and things on the sides were present in the original game. Please correct me if I'm wrong there, but again, it shows you a bit of a tutorial here for how to surf. So that's always nice. You are not able to choose a surfboard, I don't think. It's possible you can... Oh, actually, you can change surfboards, okay. So, those all seem pretty normal. I don't think they've changed all that much. As you can see, they haven't changed the Japanese text yet. So, I guess that's more proof as to the fact that this is sort of not as finalized as the other areas. And just, if you kind of go up to the edges here, it starts to get kind of strange. Just things don't work properly. If you jump, it just sort of holds you there for a while, for some reason. And just all of this just, again, feels very unfinished. And I'm not going to try to surf here because the lag would probably not allow that. But again, you have a school, you can change resorts there. There's the surfing activity, there's the photo spot, and there's just a whole bunch of NPCs. So yeah, I think that's about it, everyone. If we return to the main menu here, it should take us back to the debug menu. Yes. So here at the end, we're going to show you the debug menu option. So if we choose that, as you can see, this is the initial screen when you first would boot the game into retail mode. Your two options are press A to, enter the game, or the Motion Plus movie. So we're going to choose to enter the game. And as you can see, the audio is playing still, but it hasn't actually had to, load any textures or anything. But all the sound effects are there and everything. All the options that you would have are all there. All of the activities, all of this. And actually, I believe in this debug menu, you have access to all of the activities, whereas in the actual menu, you do not. It ends at tennis, I believe, and then all of these aren't available, so that kind of helps. So you can see all the activities here, and then it goes back around. See the events, see the school, the album, all of that, the history. You can choose a resort. Say we would choose the city resort. Here you have all of these things. It also shows you some of the things you can't control, such as the controllers, which are connected and not connected. So you can choose a number of players, choose the player, select OK. You can choose the dog and the buddy. Select OK, select daytime, choose our point, 0.1. There's no option here, but just press A. And then there's a display space menu. I don't know exactly what this is or how to change that option there, but we click A and it begins to load. And it takes us into the city resort. Well, alright everyone, this was a lot longer than I expected it to be, but I hope you enjoyed this debug build of Go Vacation. I will leave a link to the archive.org page so that you can install this yourself and just play around with it. It's super fun to see all the strange changes that they made. So yeah, have a good day everyone.